from market to table. I'm Sarah Graham, and Lillian Kerhealy and I are going to prepare some good spring and summer dishes for you today using all the goodies coming out of your gardens. And Lillian is going to get us started with a rhubarb coffee cake.
Yes, so that you can enjoy your coffee, rhubarb coffee cake, on a very dreary day like today. What is better? As I posted, this is my day. This is the day you stay home, drink beer, and don't go to work. All day. It's going to be a national holiday, just because I am sick and tired of the rain. But that's all right. Okay. Now, for the rhubarb coffee cake, we need a 9 by 13 can, which I have already sprayed with spray. You need 1 whole half cup of melted margarine, which is now starting to solidify because the bowl was cold. And in with this, you're going to go ahead and cream 1 1/2 cup brown sugar. So we're going to empty that into the melted butter. Makes it easier to cream if it's melted.
I'm sure.
So yes, so we're going to cream that all together into a nice mixture. And after this is creamed together, in the other bowl, we're going to mix our flour and things so that we can add it gradually to this creamed mixture. This is brown sugar. You need a lot of sugar with rhubarb because rhubarb is very tart.
Yes.
So, of course, there's no calories in it.
Right?
No, I use all calorie-free brown sugar.
If only.
Yes. Oh, won't that be wonderful? Oh my. And if you believe that, there is a bridge I want to sell you. It's out, yes, over the river in Arizona. Okay, so I've got that all creamed. Now in the second bowl, I am going to add my 2 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of soda, baking soda is in here also. And we gradually add the flour to our creamed mixture and stir it together. And also spill it out of the bowl all over the floor. And while we're doing this, then we're going to also add 8 ounces of sour cream, which makes it very nice and creamy. And it's a full container of sour cream. See, I put the lid back on too tight. I took it off, got the paper off and everything so I would be ready. And it's easier if you do it in steps. Part of the sour cream and then part of the flour, because it makes it easier to mix. And see, it gets very nice and creamy. Really looks yummy.
And this would be an easy one to make gluten-free with all of the wonderful cup-for-cup measuring gluten-free flours out there now.
Exactly.
You used to have to buy like an almond flour or a rice flour and then add different things to it to make it work with a regular flour recipe, but now you can just grab a bag of all-purpose gluten-free flour. Yes.
Very well.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything turns out just as well.
And it does, except that I have found many times you need more liquid with the gluten.
With the gluten-free flour.
Okay. Because the gluten-free flour is drier for some reason. And it won't hold together. You know, so yeah. So you just add a little bit more mixed, liquid if you use the gluten-free.
Well, and when you have experience with a recipe and
Oh,
try to
yes.
make it gluten-free, you can kind of tell before you put it in the oven, like,
Exactly.
this isn't quite right, and,
No,
and
that's
add
it.
a little more of
Yes,
whatever you
because
need.
we wound up in that problem when we did the lollipop cookies here using the gluten-free cake mix.
Okay.
They didn't hold together as well as what
Okay.
they should. And it was your brother, Dave, that said, oh yes, you need more liquid with gluten-free, which I did not know. But
It
you
must
should-
depend on the brand that you use.
That could be, yes. All right, now after this is all mixed, then we just fold in 1.5 cup of fresh rhubarb, or you can use frozen rhubarb. But fresh rhubarb is so much nicer, and you just fold it in.
So now this rhubarb, did it have any type of special preparation or anything? Just chopped and washed and
Other than putting on my boots to go down to the garden so I didn't sink out of sight,
I'm sure.
you know, and then because it's so much easier, rather than use a knife, I use my kitchen scissors
Oh, nice.
to cut,
Yeah.
you know, the pieces of rhubarb.
So it's just cut and washed.
Washed and cut,
Okay.
yes. And then just gently fold it in. And then when it is folded in, then you can put it in the pan and start to mix your topping. Now, I have used walnuts in my topping. You can use pecans. You don't have to use topping, you know, nuts at all if you have someone that is, you know, has a nut allergy. But you just, it's really very simple to make. Spread it evenly in your pan.
Oh, it makes a nice big portion
Yes.
as well.
See, it's so pretty. Then you can start on your topping. And for the topping, what we use is we just have your brown sugar. There's 1/4 cup white sugar, 1/4 cup brown sugar.
Okay.
Okay. And also you have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So that is in here. Come on. And with that, we have your 1 teaspoon of margarine,
Set it up there. There we go.
which is right here.
Now, I know some recipes, it's important to use butter. Some, it's important to use margarine.
This-
Is this the one that you need to do the margarine?
This says definitely margarine, yes.
Okay.
So, yes, and this, you know, you just crumble up a bit, put in your, oh, do you know what I did? That's okay. I forgot the egg. It won't make any difference.
So normally there's an egg in there.
Yes,
Okay.
normally in there there's an egg.
Okay.
But there's not in the egg this time.
Okay.
But that's all right because it really stirred up nice. And this will be good in case you have an egg allergy.
Perfect.
Yes. We'll see how it comes out. We won't taste that one. That one I'll take home and eat. And we're going to stir in 1/2 cup of chopped up walnuts. And then we're just going to spread sprinkle it all over the top. And a lot of times I just use my hands to put this because it spreads more evenly.
Oh, especially with the butter.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it helps sometimes too if you melt the butter for the topping here also, as you did for the other. And then you just bake it at 350 for 45 minutes. And when it's done, this is your finished product.
Oh, it's beautiful.
See? Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, that's a good one to
All
try
right.
for sure. Okay, I am going to show you how to make a little bit of a spin on your usual summer pasta salad. So this is a roasted corn and zucchini pasta salad, also has avocado in it. So the first thing you'll want to do is make your preference of pasta. So this is just a tri-colored rotini. At home, we usually do half this and half of a gluten-free one because we have some gluten-free people in the family. So this is just 12 ounces of tri-color rotini pasta. So cook this ahead of time, drain it, and then then you'll want to cool it with cool water so it doesn't keep cooking and get all mushy. And then just put it in a bowl and set it aside. And then we're going to get started with roasting our corn and our zucchini. So you're going to use about 2 cups of zucchini and a can of corn, or you can cut corn off of the stalk. I like to use this, this is the Wild Harvest Organic canned corn. I cannot believe the difference in the taste, in the smell, in the look of this organic corn. So I encourage you to give this a try because the flavor and everything is just so different and so much better. Now, since we're roasting, it would be ideal to use a cast iron skillet. But our burner here is so hot, even on low, that I knew that we would really overcook this. So you'll want to put this out in a layer. And if you have a bigger pan, use a bigger pan so that you can cook it more in a single layer. This will have to stir around a little bit. But we are just going to leave that sit and not stir it because we want it to brown up really nicely. And while that is cooking, I'm going to do some salt and pepper on here too.
Is there any specific amount of salt and pepper?
No,
Just
to
more or
taste.
less to taste.
Yeah, you know, like what you would eyeball up on what something you were eating. You know,
Right.
if you were eating something of this size, how much would you add? And you can always taste and add while you cook. Taste and add, taste and add. Okay, and I'm just going to peek here to see how quickly this is going to happen. Okay, we're good. So I'm going to let this roast a bit here in the pan, and while that's happening, these are already washed, and I sliced these little grape tomatoes so they're ready to go. But while that's cooking, and you could be doing your pasta at the same time as well, wash and have some grape or cherry tomatoes, or if you have some out of your garden, you can definitely chop those up. You just want bite-sized pieces. You know, with a pasta salad, you want to cut
Correct.
things into bite-sized pieces so that you don't want to have to cut anything while you're eating the pasta salad. And then you're going to take one large avocado and you're going to chop it. So with things that I never cut before, I always pull up a YouTube video, but avocados are something I'm pretty familiar with. So you just slice long ways around and then you kind of twist and pull. Now this one's a little overripe, but we will just scoop around that. And this is the handiest little tool. If you don't have this tool, then you just take a knife and very carefully get it into the seed, twist, and take it out. But since my sister was concerned with me cutting my hand, because she watched me multiple times on this cooking show, like get the seed out, she bought me this handy dandy tool that you just put over it and you twist. And it's a little too soft, so I don't want to push it usually grips it right on these little, they're
And
not
there's-
really sharp blades, but it grips it and then you can pull
And
it
there's
out nicely.
nothing you can do with a seed.
You can do something with
Really?
the seed. You can plant your own avocado tree with the seed. If you just Google it, they teach you exactly how to do it. Yeah, you put the
That-
seed in water and you can grow your own
See,
little tree
I was
inside.
wondering because to me it was such a waste.
Oh,
because
for
that
the
pretty
seed, it
little
looks,
seed,
yeah.
yes, looks so nice.
Well, when you're making guacamole, one of the things that I've heard is if you can, so that you can make it a little bit ahead of time.
Right.
You put the pit back in it. You put the seed, like after you make the guacamole, you put the seed down in it, and I always wet a paper towel and cover the top completely. And then even if it's an hour or more, just because
Really?
of the citric acid from the lime that I
That's
put in
true.
as well, it stays nice. So,
Very good.
okay, I'm going to scoop this out, and I'll use my little scooper here. I'm just going to avoid the brown part.
That is a handy little gadget.
Yes, this tool is really, really neat. Okay, and then I'll just use this to chop it up just a little bit more. And this is nice because it's vinyl. It cuts fruits and veggies really effectively, but kids
not
can't cut
you.
themselves. Yeah, we have a set of vinyl knives at home, and my kids love using them. And now I feel more confident, like my 11 and 12-year-old now, they'll want to cut things that require a sharper knife, and I feel comfortable because I've watched them with those vinyl knives.
That's
know
right,
how to hold
yes.
it, know how to cut, so it's less of a panic attack for those of you mothers like me that are panic attack moms sometimes. Okay, so we're going to put the avocado, the chopped up avocado, in a bowl. And this one is a little mushier than you would probably want for this salad usually.
You know,
but
it is
it's okay.
very difficult to find if the avocado is overripe or not by looking at it.
You can't look at it. You definitely have to feel it. Or we're
This
browning
is
really
it,
nicely
yes.
now. Yes, you have to feel it. The color of the avocado is insignificant. Sometimes they'll look really, really dark brown. Sometimes they'll have a reddish cast. Sometimes they're bright, bright green or dark, dark green. But ignore the color. You
And
want to focus on
go
it
with the
having,
feel.
yes. You just want it, you don't want it to be hard like a rock, but you don't want it to be so much that you could poke your finger through the skin. Because
Right.
at some point, you actually could poke your finger through the skin. Okay, so if you look, what was on the bottom has gotten nice and browned on here. So I'm just stirring it up a little bit so that we can brown the rest of it. And again, I'm gonna leave it sit and brown. I'm gonna leave it sit and brown and not stir it because we want that pretty brown roasted look
Right.
to the veggies. So while that's still cooking, we're gonna add some lemon juice to the avocado. And that, again, the citric acid, whether it's lemon or lime that you use,
Would
I'm gonna do
either
this.
one, would it make a difference in the flavor?
For the salad, it calls for lemon. I've not made it with lime. I always make my guacamole with lime. But with this salad, it calls for lemon. I think it would also be good with lime. It would just be a different flavor, obviously. But I think
Right.
with this, because we're going to add Italian dressing, we're going to add basil.
Oh,
I think the
okay.
lemon
Yes,
is
I
probably
think the
a better
lime would
option
make it
for
more
this.
tart, possibly, than the
Still got
than the
some in
lemon.
there. Okay. That's a good trick, especially if you're cooking for a family, that if you just want to use your hand to
Oh,
squeeze it in
yes.
and hold on to the seeds while you let it spill over. Okay, so I'm just going to combine this and let it, make sure it's all coated with the lemon juice so that we can avoid browning as much as we can. And then you can set that aside and not really have to worry about it. Okay, so we have our pasta. I think we are pretty nicely roasted over here. And again, like I said, ideal would be a cast iron skillet.
Right,
you'll
because
see
it
there-
doesn't.
Yes, it doesn't
scorch.
brown, right, it doesn't brown quite as nicely in the non-stick because it's non-stick, but it still cooks up just as well. And You'll notice we have a lot of brown on this pan, which you usually try to avoid, but all of our veggies are still nicely coming off of it with just a little bit of brown. Nothing
Right.
is burnt or overcooked in any way. So you just need to keep an eye on it. Know your burners, get to know your burners, get to know your pans, and because this is nonstick, you will be able to clean this easily, even though you browned it.
True. Is it easier to do it on an electric stove or on the gas?
I think that's a matter of preference. I don't like electric because
See-
electric stays hot even after you turn
See,
it off.
this is it. I don't like electric
Yes,
either.
gas, when it's on, it's on. When it's off, it's off. But if you have some of those really nice, like Crusette pans that hold heat, I have to cook with a lot lower heat when I use those
That's
because they
right.
hold the heat in so well. So you really do have to get to know your burners and get to know your pans. I have an induction cooktop at home, which works just as
yes,
well
it
as
would.
gas without
right.
the gas, without having to use the gas and without, because the fumes, the scent bothers me a little bit
Oh,
on a
really?
gas cooktop. It does. I'm real sensitive to smells and.
But you know, there's also a big difference between natural gas and propane.
Okay, teach me.
The propane is much hotter
Okay,
than the natural gas.
okay.
Because I had a hard time my whole life. We used propane. And then
Okay.
when I moved here to Grove City, we have natural gas. And
Cooks different.
yes, I
Okay.
was really amazed.
Okay. So yeah, you really do. Just get comfortable
Yes.
with your pots and pans, get comfortable with your burners, and you really have to adjust based upon what you have at home. And a lot of it is a matter of preference. Okay, so now we're going to start combining. I'm going to let this cool for a few minutes while I add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and add our container of tomatoes. And we will add our, now this is not anywhere nearly enough avocado for me. I think I would probably put about 3 or 4 avocados in here if I were making this at home. We're big avocado fans, and
Oh,
don't be
yes.
afraid of the fat. This is good fat. There's good fat, there's bad fat. This is good fat. We have fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. And the water-soluble ones, of course, your body absorbs with the water in your body. But fat-soluble vitamins you will not absorb unless you are ingesting fat. And that was something that was discovered when there was the whole fat-free fad and everything became fat-free and
Exactly.
everyone was avoiding fat. And then all of a sudden we started seeing all these vitamin deficiencies. So,
Yes.
you know, everything in moderation, everybody. Just moderation and good fats. Good fats. Candy bars don't count. Not good fat. Sorry. Take away the fun. I have to take away all the fun.
I'm going to invent a good fat candy bar.
There you go. It would be pretty easy, I think. If you used like an almond butter,
Right.
Yeah, if you used an almond butter and used like bittersweet chocolates, and if you used something like coconut oil to sweeten it a little bit.
And you know what?
Good.
County Market makes the best peanut butter. Fresh
Oh,
ground
the fresh
peanut
peanut butter.
We have
Yes.
the cashew butter.
Yes.
We have a chocolate.
And they even
peanut
make like
butter.
a honey peanut butter.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Or the
it's
honey
good.
roasted
Yes,
one.
honey roasted.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, I will have to
There
go
you
ahead
go.
and experiment
All right, next
with that.
cooking show.
No, no,
wanna
no,
see
no,
it.
no,
No?
no,
No?
no. I'm going to save it all for me and eat.
Pressure's off.
Okay.
We'll bring it
Why
in for
would
us
I
anyway.
share?
Right? Right. Okay, so there's this new great brand that I've really been enjoying. It's called Inspired Organics. And it's affordable, but organic ingredients. So we're avoiding pesticides, we're avoiding artificial fertilizers and all kinds of yucky stuff like that that just is not good for us. So, oh, it smells so good too.
That looks good just the way it is without
Yes, yeah.
the corn and everything in
It
it.
is looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and ideally you would want to cool this a little more than it is right now, but for our time constraints, we're going to go ahead and add it in. It won't hurt anything.
That is
Just
so
stir it all up.
colorful.
Yes, I love the reds and greens and yellows together. That's when I was over there picking tomatoes, I was looking at my ingredient list and going, all right, I have yellow corn, I have green zucchini, so I'm definitely getting red tomatoes. Because sometimes I'll
Right.
get yellow tomatoes if I have
That's
like
right.
red bell pepper or something. 'Cause
Exactly.
it just makes it so much more pretty. So there we go. Now I do have some basil over here. And there's also organic, fresh basil from Wild Harvest. You can definitely chop this up, or you can just rip it up and add it. And this is something that you can put as like a topping on it, or you can add it and stir it in.
And
But
do you know, it is so easy to grow your own basil.
yes, basil is a really, really easy one. And you just
Yes.
pick the leaves off as they
This is
grow, and
it.
they grow more and more and more and more all season.
And you can keep it on your windowsill and have it fresh all year long.
Oh, I've never tried to do that. I've only ever planted it outside and the bunnies got it.
Well, see, I'm too lazy to go outside and pick. So I just put mine in a flower pot, put it on the windowsill,
That's a great idea.
and then I just take it off the windowsill.
See, I have cats though. I'm afraid my cats would eat it, but I bet it wouldn't hurt
But you know
them.
what? They don't bother it because I have the cats.
Okay,
And
they don't like the basil.
Apparently not, because
Okay.
they bit it once and they've never touched it again.
They were like, this was not catnip.
No, that, doggone it, Mother, what's wrong with you?
All right, that's good to know. I'm going to have to try
Yes.
that. I would love to have it year round because I love to make pesto.
Yes.
Love, love
Yes.
pesto. And tomato mozzarella salad. Those are some favorites. So, all right, and then you can also put Parmesan cheese on there if you wanted to add some Parmesan cheese. And the longer it sits, the more the flavors will go together. So you'd want to put this in the fridge for at least an hour or two before serving. And if it's all soaked, if all the dressing is soaked up by the time it's done, you know, you probably really need to add the whole bottle. I just wanted to see how it went together before I added the whole thing. But this dressing has a red wine vinegar in it, which I thought would be a nice change to the normal, add a little bit of a
Right.
different flavor. So there we go. There is your roasted corn and zucchini summer pasta salad. Change it up a little bit for your next family picnic or neighborhood picnic that you're invited to. So
That is great.
yeah, I'm excited.
I
for this
like
one.
that.
Thank you.
Sure,
so
you
you're
show
going
it to me now.
Yeah.
And I have a graduation party on Saturday.
Well, now you have something to make and take.
Yes, but I was planning something else. But that's okay. I
Yeah.
am flexible.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you have another rhubarb recipe
Yes, I
for
do.
us. Okay,
a
let's
rhubarb
see
crisp. Now we had breakfast, we have lunch, and now we can have dessert. Okay? For our rhubarb crisp, we need just a small 9x9 square pan. And this is so easy. It really is. You spray the pan naturally so that it does not stick. For the rhubarb crisp, you need 4 cups of rhubarb. So we're going to have our 4 cups of cut up rhubarb. And naturally, because the rhubarb is so tart, again, we're going to use a good deal of sugar. We have a full cup of sugar. And in with the sugar here, we have 2 tablespoons of flour. And we just mix the rhubarb, sugar, and the flour to make sure that all of the rhubarb is coated. And you can see as you mix it, the juices come up in the rhubarb. And what makes this so easy is then you just take this mixture and pour it right into the 8x8 pan.
Now, is this a rhubarb recipe, or is this a crisp recipe that you could use for other fruits as well? Or do the recipes change based upon what type of
You know,
fruit
I've
you're
never
using?
used it with other recipes. I
Other
know
fruits.
that in the coffee cake, you can use blueberries.
Okay. Same
But I
recipe for
imagine
different
you
fruit.
could-
Okay.
With this also, I don't see why not, really.
Okay. I wasn't sure if because of
Yeah.
the different consistencies of different vegetable or fruits that
True.
if you could use the same recipe or not, or if they have to be prepared in different ways.
And then for your topping, what you do is you just have 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 egg. And the egg I'm going to remember this time.
You'll do the egg this time.
Yes, I'll remember the egg
Why
this
not?
time.
Have you ever seen that trick online? I've seen it where they take an empty bottle of water, so like a disposable bottle of water,
Yes.
and they go over an egg and they squeeze the water bottle a little bit, empty water bottle, and put it over the yolk and then let go, and it just sucks the yolk up
Right
into
up,
the...
yes. That
Have
is
you
a-
ever tried it?
No,
I haven't
I
tried
have
it
watched.
either.
You know, I have
I'm more
seen
of a
it.
pass it between.
Uh-huh. And I thought, you know what? If I had kids, young kids, I
Oh,
would.
yeah, that'd be
yes,
something to let them
I
try.
would do that just to see the, you know, the expression on the kids' face
Yeah.
and my own
Yes,
if it
yes,
worked. Yes, but I'm not going to make a fool of myself and make a mess in the kitchen. Nuh-uh. No, I make a mess of my own without
Yeah.
trying anything
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
Now,
I just recently had to separate eggs, and I saw the video
Yes.
after, and I thought, oh, that could have been helpful because I did have to throw away.
Now see, yeah, this sort of makes a crumbly top. And before we put the top on, we're going to go ahead and take 2 tablespoons of butter and just dot the rhubarb with the butter. Oh, this is so
It's the best part, right? The
Yes.
toppings.
Oh, yes,
Best part of the crisp.
definitely. And then we just sprinkle the topping all over it. And again, it's just 350 for 40 minutes. And it comes out, it is just so beautiful. And the finished product looks just like this. If I can get the lid off without dropping it.
Oh, it is beautiful. It
Yes.
looks so good.
And it's so easy.
Yes, very simple, very good. That's my word for the summer.
Simple.
Simple, yes.
Yes.
Simple summer. Let's
That's
keep it
right.
simple, but you still
Okay.
want to eat at home, and
Yes.
it's fresher and less expensive. And,
Right.
And on our rainy days like we've been having, it gives us something to come inside and do when it's rainy outside. So in
As long
that
as you have
spirit,
an air conditioner to go
Yes.
ahead and take the humidity out of the air when your oven is on.
this
Yes.
is true. This is true.
Yes, it gets a wee bit warm.
So in that spirit of simple, my second recipe, which requires no cooking whatsoever, is just a very simple and easy summer berry parfait. Now, my kids, this is one of our favorites, and this is a go-to at home. I always buy a nice big container of this organic whole milk vanilla yogurt. You can use a plain yogurt, you can use a flavored yogurt, whatever you want to do, and then you can gather up some nice summer berries. I have strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries today, and you could even make this like a little at home, you know, all set everything out, and the kids love putting it together themselves. And then the third thing that you need is granola. We buy gluten-free granola. Oats do not contain gluten, but there are two ways that granola and oatmeal are commonly cross-contaminated with gluten, and one is field sharing. So one year a field will have wheat, and the next year it might have oats. So the oats will get some gluten in them just from being on a field that lastly grew wheat. And the second way is from production. So they share a lot of the same machinery sometimes, and they'll get contaminated just in the warehouse where it's produced. So if you have a gluten sensitivity or allergy, if it's just a sensitivity, you might be okay with regular granola and oatmeal. But if you have celiac or a severe allergy, then you do want to buy granola and oatmeal that is labeled gluten-free. So this is a gluten-free one, and I went ahead and got a vanilla one with almonds in it. I thought that would add a little bit more flavor and excitement.
Do they have them all flavors?
In the gluten-free, or, well, there's a nice big selection over there.
Really?
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
bunch of different bags, and I had a hard time choosing actually because there were so many. But I figured the vanilla would go well with my vanilla yogurt, and I thought the almonds would add some extra
True.
protein to it. So at home we would set up the yogurt, set up the berries in different bowls, and set up maybe a couple different kinds of granola that we might have. So to put this together is very, very simple, just like any other type of layering or parfait or anything that you would want to do. We just start with the yogurt, and then you can add in whatever berries you want. A layer of berries. Put in a little bit of everything here. And then a layer of granola. And my container is not anywhere near as large as I need it to be. But this is good for breakfast. My kids, they kind of eat like birds in the morning. They don't eat a big breakfast. And this is just much nicer, still nice and sweet for them. My kid, most kids like sweet, and my kids are definitely included in that. But this is a lot healthier than your regular like sugary bowl of cereal that you might have. But you're still getting your dairy, getting some fruit in there. And then dependent upon what type of granola you use, you can have one with coconut in it. And like I said, this one has almonds.
That would be so much better than just my ordinary old oatmeal.
Yes. So you just layer that up in a bowl, or like one of the smaller mason jars or glass or whatever. And the kids can make their own, or even if you have overnight guests in the summer, this is something nice to set out. We do this for breakfast, we do this for snacks. It's like a nice in-between when they're hungry, rather than opening up a bag of chips or something. This is a good go-to. So there is your easy summer berry parfait.
See, I'm entirely too old for overnight guests.
For overnight guests.
You just blew that. I'll just have to make it for me.
Yes, just make it for you. Well, and the great thing is, the yogurt just sits in the fridge and it lasts a long time. The granola lasts a long time in the cabinet. And if you have some fresh berries, some left over from making a crisp or a coffee cake with fruit in it. So if you want to bring up so we can look at everything. So we have your simple summer berry parfait, and you can use whatever fruit and granola and yogurt you prefer, or your family prefers. And then your roasted corn and zucchini summer pasta salad.
So good.
Yeah, and just put the little basil up there as a garnish, just adds a little bit more eye appeal to the food.
Parsley.
Absolutely, yeah. It just depends on what kind of flavor you want. And then Lillian has made for us 2 rhubarb dishes, the rhubarb crisp, and then our rhubarb coffee cake. So we hope that you have gardens full of beautiful fruits and vegetables this spring and this summer, and that you can bring them in and enjoy the time preparing and feasting with friends and family this summer. And we're all hoping and praying for some nicer sunny summer days here pretty soon.
Either that, or you can always rent a tent.
Right, yes, rent a tent. There we go.
And I've already texted my son-in-law asking for nails because I ran out building the ark. So I don't know what you can do.
You can head to Lillian's house.
That's right.
For the ark, to hop on the ark if the rain continues.
I'm only saving the good. Okay? So those of you that deviate from the path, might not get on my ark.
Okay. Well, even sunshine or not, when you have good friends, good family, and good food, you can still have an enjoyable summer despite the weather. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you,
Thank
Lillian.
you.
And until next time, we'll see you at the market.